Hey, what's going on? Xavier here. Welcome back to the channel. So a few weeks ago, a video popped up my feed from Business Insider talking about Pantone and why it's so expensive. And I'm curious because I know you're a design field. We know Pantone and we know what it is, but I never really asked myself why they're so expensive. So today you're gonna get my reaction as a designer that I heard and I've heard, we all know about Pantone. I heard of it, but I never really worked with Pantone before. Never got a chance to do so. So we're gonna take a look at this video, get my thoughts, my reaction, and yeah. So let's see.
Take a look at this cereal box. No, a closer look. Even closer. Thousands of tiny dots create the illusion of solid color. But it's just an illusion. For pure color, like this yellow, get ready to pay. This is a Pantone color.
Yeah, so that's the difference between a Pantone and printing with CMYK. CMYK is just, cyan, majestic, yellow, black. All those little dots combine to make the color. So if you look at real closely, you can really see little dots. And I know what's Pantone is a formula, it's a mix of different colors, and you're supposed to mix it together, and you would get somebody that got to match what's in the book with what they made by mixing the colors, something like that.
The company's products cost hundreds to thousands of dollars. But
yeah, that's true. If you go to print with Pantone and not with CMYK, get ready to pay a pretty penny for that. And there's a reason for it.
Pantone doesn't sell ink. It sells these. Standardized color guides for designers and printers.
Yeah, the first time I heard about that when I was learning about Pantones, that they don't really make the ink. They just make those books, the little booklets, and then the little color they use. I really thought they made ink when I first started my design career. I remember when in design school, and I was like, and my professor first told me that, I was like, no way that all they do is that. But yeah, that's all they do. They make those booklets and those little wheel thing for the plastics.
So this one was around $1,000, but the entire set is about $8,000, I think.
It's actually
$8,000. Wow.
Actually over $9,000. And Pantone recommends replacing its products every 18 months.
Imagine that. Every 18 months, you're gonna spend $9,000 to $10,000 for that set. That is crazy. Especially if you're a solopreneur like me, just started have your own business. Ain't no way in hell I could pay $10,000 every 18 months.
For 60 years, one company has dominated color standards. Now, some frustrated designers seek a better alternative.
Pantone becomes a necessary evil because it's such a mainstream language.
So why are Pantone colors so expensive? And how does a company make a fortune on color without selling a drop of ink?
That still surprises me. Make so much money making no ink.
Most printing is like that cereal box. You might have heard it called CMYK or half-toning. It's a process that's been around since the 19th century.
Yeah, that's what I was explaining earlier in the video, CMYK and the little dots.
But CMYK can only produce a limited number of colors. Pantone gives design.
Yeah, that's true. If you ever seen CMYK and the RGB spectrum, and you can see how limited CMYK really is.
Designers a shared palette way beyond that range. And these colors are solid. See, no dots. They look brighter, cleaner, and more consistent. And
to have that brighter, cleaner, and more consistent, like in this shot right here, you got to pay a premium. That's a premium right there. So it's always best to use, at least this is what I believe, if use Pantone for your branding, like for your logo and whatnot. But for everything else, I think you can go CMYK. I like this example right here. It's like a mix of both of them. You have Pantone and CMYK.
And why Pantone became the industry standard, we have to go back to the 1950s. Before computers and Adobe, design was a physical process.
You'd have these little tweezers, and you'd have to kind of move things around in your composition. You would use a lot of chemicals. There was a lot of rubber cement, X-Acto knives.
I mean, I didn't use these things when I started school, but we were still using X-Acto knives, and we still use that rubber glue because I'm old enough that at least in my school, we were still printing and putting our products on foam board and putting them out the wall and have your professor come here and just destroy your work, saying that your work sucks, you're pathetic, you shouldn't be a designer. Yeah, I'm that old, so hopefully you youngsters don't have to go through that anymore.
Knives. Getting things to be really precise was really hard.
Yeah, precision. Ooh, man, I had a professor that if your product wasn't prestigious, if it had like one little smudge on your project, on the whatever poster, whatever project you're doing, you fail. Like she would come up and she'd knock your project off the board. Like it was, yeah, she was tough. Never forgot her name though.
And getting colors to look the same around the world was challenging.
Color matching really wasn't something that people could do when working with different printers. One of the famous examples is of Kodak. Some printers would print the yellow a little darker, some would print it a little brighter.
You know, I saw that recently. I went to Costco the other day and I buy the almond milk from the Kirkland brand. And I noticed that the packaging, the color was different than what I normally buy. It was like a light blue. And then recently, I don't know if they changed the printing process. I'm not sure. Maybe they decided to go Pantone or CYK. I'm not sure. But now it's a lot darker. Like the blue is a lot darker. It's not that light blue like it was before.
When the customers saw those side by side on the shelf, they'd often go for the brighter box, thinking that that film was fresher.
Let's say why color is important. Buying the brighter box simply because the customer thinks it's fresher. Say color is important.
Solving this problem was a huge business opportunity, and one man was ready to capitalize on that.
So this is a man who capitalized everything for Pantone.
Larry Herbert started working at Pantone in 1956. Back then, it was a printing company. So Larry
See, look at that. Pantone was a printing company before.
knew how frustrating it was to communicate color.
Well, if you wanted to have a specific color, you often had to bring an example of that color in with you to the printers. And then the printers might have their own formula guides or recipe books that they could match colors to.
God, that had to be annoying. You know how to bring an example and go to each printing shop and just to compare to see if their formula matches the color you want. Man, that had to be so annoying back then.
But they didn't share those with other printers.
Larry
Of course, you gotta keep company secrets.
realized that a shared standard would streamline communication and prevent mistakes. But he wasn't the first to come up with this concept. There were other color references, like the Munsell color system, developed in 1905, or this 1922 book for textiles. Even before that,
So we had all these formulas. So how, what happened? And now we just stuck with Pantone.
scientists worked to standardize color names. Although this author might not have appreciated Pantone's color of the year, Mocha Mousse, he denounces fanciful and nonsensical names.
I disagree. I think you should have names instead of, using hexadecimal or whatever. I mean, come on, even when we do branding projects, designers, we like to take the colors and give them unique names for any particular brand you're working with. It gives an extra touch. I don't know. I disagree. I think having a name for a color, I think is pretty cool.
But there wasn't a system used across industries. His key innovation was the Pantone matching system.
There it is, the Pantone matching system. I know in my regular 9 to 5, we still have those books, but they're old, man. I haven't bought new ones in a long time, so I don't even use those anymore. It's so old and faded. Probably tell my boss to buy some new ones. We don't print that much anyway. It's really rare that we do.
Pantone chooses a bundle of colors and assigns a numerical code to each one. Every color has a specific form.
Here's a quick question. Do you have your favorite Pantone color? And you know your code? I admit I do not know my code for my personal branding. I'll look it up after this.
The company distributes its system through guidebooks like these. So instead of saying royal blue, you'd say Pantone 300. Then you'd specify if you're printing on coated or uncoated paper.
Yeah, I remember I was so confused about the whole uncoated paper in my early years.
Printers anywhere in the world instantly know what you want, and they have a repeatable way to recreate.
Yeah, look at the process compared to CMYK. They take the color is the color master, whatever what's the title, but they gotta go to that formula, make sure they get the right amount, like 8 parts red or 8 parts, whatever the formula is, mix it, and then make sure they get the color right every single time.
That color. As long as they also own a guidebook.
Look at that, look how perfect that is. That is amazing. You gotta have lots of skill to know how to mix this right and get the color right. That's cool, I ain't gonna lie. That was pretty dope.
Numbers matched to colors. It's sort of that simple.
Pantone released its first.
Yeah, our Pantone book in the office was something like this. I mean, not that year, but I'm saying like it's pretty beat up.
It was such a needed product as branding and corporate identity was getting larger, as people were starting to pay more attention to how brands were presenting themselves.
You see, if you ever got a client that says they don't care about color, right here, consumers pay more attention to color. So color is very important. Tell that to your clients. Hey, you may show this to your clients. That you have a client that's being really picky or really annoying about color or anything else. Show them this. Like, hey, color is important. All these companies invest a lot in their colors.
Color consistency just became incredibly
Color consistency, that's very important.
important, and Pantone fit the bill perfectly.
In less than a decade, Pantone became the industry standard.
Oh no, they still print. They should print their own stuff. Pantone still print, guys. They should print their own stuff now.
The company expanded into textiles and plastics. And in the 1980s, Pantone was quick to license its colors to software companies.
Yeah, Adobe. I remember Adobe used to have the Pantones in their software, but a couple of years ago, typical greed just takes over, and now I think Pantone have their own subscription service now, if I remember correctly.
In 2001, Pantone referred to itself as the world's only universally accepted color communication language.
Oh, that's a self-proclaim, It's not like it's like a board designer that decided. This is like self-proclaim.
And one reason Pantone stayed dominant is that its system is proprietary.
Oh, trademark notice and copyright notice.
Okay.
Pantone don't own anything. The only thing they actually own is the code that they associate with that colour. So they don't own the colour, they just own the language that we use to describe the colour.
See, that sounds so... I get it as a business is here to make money, but at the same time, it's like they are gatekeeping the colors. I mean, okay, they developed the system today, so they should have a right to profit off of it. But still, I can see the frustration of some designers.
And it's gone to court to protect that language. In 1968, Pantone sued a competitor called Paratone, saying that it copied
Paratone. It's like almost like parody.
Pantone's intellectual property. And Pantone won. The judge...
Ah, man, that sucks. Hey, you know what? Yeah, is their intellectual property, they were protected, but at the same time, now we don't have no other company. All we have is Pantone, and that's not good for consumers. The more competition is, it's always better for the consumer. Imagine there was only iPhones and there was no Android. You know how expensive an iPhone would be with no competition? Plus, it won't benefit the consumer. In this case would be us as designers.
Determined that Pantone's system had sufficient originality and uniqueness to qualify it for copyrightability.
There's no corporate headquarters for CMYK, there's no corporate headquarters for RGB, but there is a corporate headquarters for Pantone.
Look at that right there. That's a really good argument. CMYK, RGB, there's no gatekeeping. There's no a company that controls that, then why Pantone? Because CMYK and RGB was developed, they have their own codes. So is Pantone. Then, yeah, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm gonna go into that. But hey, they went in court and they won, so nothing we can do about it now.
Does Pantone have a serious competitor?
I can answer that question for you. No.
That's a good question. Everyone can be a competitor, but at the same time, there's only one Pantone with such a dedicated team.
Okay, so the answer was no. You just said no, it's okay.
For printers, Pantone is a fact of life.
The whole 38 years I've been here, we've been using Pantone. If we went away from Pantone, a lot of our higher-end clients, I don't think they would want to do business with us anymore.
See, that also another thing for printers, that they have to have Pantone because, like you said, the higher paying clients, I'm guessing like Fortune 500 companies or any company that can actually afford it, they're going to want Pantone. Like, you think Coca-Cola doesn't want that particular red for their packaging or for their Coke cans or for whatever it uses? They want that red. They want that Pantone. Well, I don't know the code, but they want that Pantone red always. It's probably called Coca-Cola red by now.
Kevin uses
And companies like Coca-Cola, they will pay for it. They will pay for that. I mean, I don't know how much money does Coca-Cola have for it? Like millions of dollars for marketing.
Pantone guides to verify that printed colors match client orders.
If they have a book and they pick the color, then we have our book and we know exactly what they want. They're one of our.
I mean, it's a really good system. The client has the book, you have your book, you match it, you get the code, you match the color, and boom, you don't have to worry about it anymore.
Most valuable tools that we have in the printing industry.
Allied Printing mixes each Pantone color in-house using a set of base.
Look at that. So it's by hand. They had these buckets. I think it's like ink. It's not really like paint. It's like ink. And they got to mix the color and then get that and put it on the roll.
Inks.
I kind of want to go to the print shop, do that myself one day. I don't know. Maybe if I get big enough, I go to a print shop and do like a behind the scenes and check it out and print something. Print some of my material in Pantone color. See how much that might cost me.
Anthony is Allied Printing's resident ink mixer.
Resident ink mixer. That's a cool title. I'm a resident ink mixer. Ink mixer. Color mixer. A colorist sounds cool. Hey, ink colorist used for video.
Just go to page 65, find your color. This is 7-Eleven right here.
7-Eleven.
So we want a 6-pounder. Usually I do my 6-pounders in a 1 gallon. This fits up to like 8 pounds. This is my recipe right here. So I have.
There it is. That's a recipe. There's how many pounds. Oh, so you got all your colors and how much. Oh, you weight. Okay, so they take each color and they weight it to get the exact formula for what he said, 6 pounds. Oh, yeah, that is 4.638 pounds for this color, and then kind of like half a pound. And all right.
Transparent white, which is clear. We have yellow.
So I'm assuming that you have the bucket, you put your paint, you get the weight, then you zero it out, and then you add the next color and the next color and the next color. I'm assuming that's how that works.
We have warm red. This one calls for 4.6 pounds. And then we.
I don't know what happens if you're off by like a little bit. Would that really affect the color that much, or it has to be really, really exact?
We have black. All right, so that's the last ingredient. Ready to throw it on the mixer.
Oh, look at that. It's like completely different than like other ink I've seen.
But Allied Printing doesn't buy ink from Pantone. It works.
Yeah, it's like established. Pantone doesn't. Wait. Yeah, they don't make ink. They just make the books and whatnot.
With a licensed manufacturer. And to access color formulas, Anthony uses third-party software that's, again, licensed by Pantone.
Wow, even the third-party software is licensed by Pantone. So Pantone's making so much money because they have no competition and they just license everything.
After mixing, Anthony tests every batch to ensure it's consistent.
I'll put down my sample first, And then this is my batch. Draw it down. There's your color. It looks good.
That was really good.
Good. The formula looks good. And that's it. That's a
Yeah, there's your Pantone right there.
typical ink order fulfilled.
Because Pantone colors are pre-mixed from 11 base inks, they look brighter
Wow, they do look brighter actually. Yeah, I haven't noticed that.
and cleaner compared to CMYK, which uses just 4 colors.
Pantone has a huge gamut of colors that you'll never be able to achieve with CMYK.
God, I wish in the future somebody out there develops a CMYK, I don't know, printing machine that can compete with Pantone. That'd be amazing. Finally, Pantone will have like a competition, but I can only dream. I don't have the knowledge or money to fund the research like that. I mean, I'm guessing maybe someone has tried and just can't do it. Maybe it's current tech, but who knows? I mean, we never knew AI can make videos and images, and AI is doing everything now.
You can try to imitate Pantone colors through 4-color process, but in my opinion, you never do.
Yeah, look at that difference between CMYK and Pantone. Look at that.
CMYK is useful for something like this photo, with hundreds of slightly different colors and shades. Pantone excels when you need one solid color to look exactly the same every time it's printed.
Yeah, like I said earlier, use Pantone for your branding colors, and images and stuff like that. Like just use CMYK. It's probably cheaper in the long run, right? If you're a company and you're printing these boxes, I don't know, millions and millions of boxes or marketing material. Yeah, I'm guessing this already is a cost-effective way.
But depending on what you're printing, Pantone is often more expensive. Besides,
Yeah, I imagine it'll be more expensive. Like look at the whole process just to get the color. Just to get the color. You need like a color master here to get the formula, and then it's third-party software licensed by Pantone. So I'm assuming they got to pay for that software as well. They pay a third party for the ink, plus spending how much every 18 months on new color books. Yeah, it's gonna get pricey to print in Pantone. There's no way around it.
besides the effort of mixing colors, Kevin says the ink itself costs about 15 to 25% more than CMYK.
15 to 25% more than CMYK.
Some of our customers don't care about price. A lot of big corporations, if that's their corporate color, they want their corporate color to be perfect.
Right there, the man said it. If you're a corporate company, Coca-Cola, I don't know, Apple, Pepsi, they got the money to spend on Pantone. As long as that exists, Pantone's gonna exist. These books are gonna exist. All right, guys, I'm gonna cut it here. I'm gonna leave the link below so you can watch the whole thing. It's really interesting. I really enjoyed this documentary that Business Insider pulled out. Yeah, I want your thoughts below. What do you think about it? Do you think Pantone is a necessary evil? Do you think no, Pantone is fine what they're doing? They're a business that ought to make money. Let me know. Have you used Pantone? I don't really use Pantone that much. I still use Pantone. I still provide the Pantone code for my clients for branding projects if in the future their business get big enough to they can afford it. But yeah, so let me know. Tell me what your thoughts. I leave the video down below so you can check it out for yourself, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.